If you're a creative and you want to promote your work, then you're probably looking at social media to do this. You've also probably been hearing about video content being the big thing lately. Now, if you work primarily in video content, and this isn't a problem, but if you're a static artist or illustrator, then you're going to need to rethink your approach. Today, I want to show you it doesn't need to be difficult by sharing my method to creating time-lapse processes that I share on TikTok and Instagram Reels. Before we get into how I edit my time lapses, let's quickly cover recording and documenting your process. Use a mixture of ways for variety. Mostly I use OBS to capture my screen. Sometimes I'll set up an overhead camera to get a different view, and at other times I'll pick a random point in the design and simply hold my phone while filming. Mixing it up like this allows for you to post the same content in different ways, expanding your content library. Now let's get into it. Now, to edit my videos, I use the software Premiere Pro. And I know, it's bloody expensive, but you don't have to use a Premiere Pro. You can use DaVinci Resolve, a software that I used to use and a software that I would recommend. It's a good software and a good free alternative. So the key to making your time lapse for short form content is to make sure it isn't just one continuous scene from start to finish of your illustration. I find by chopping it up, it helps keep people engaged a little bit better. Ultimately, these days people have short attention spans, so I like to keep each scene between 2 to 3 seconds long before switching to another view or another part of the illustration. And in total, I like to try and keep the videos between 15 and 30 seconds. So first thing you want to do is set the speed of your time lapse. I tend to set mine to around 500%. I find at that point, it's not too fast, but it's also not too slow. It's a good pace. And it goes without saying, you want the start point of your time lapse to be the beginning of your session. For this example, you'll see there already is some vector line work laid down here, but during this session, I was doing the color work. So we're going to start it there, and then we're going to let it play for a couple of seconds. And you can see it doesn't start until about 1 second 45 in. So we're going to zoom in and we're going to put a cut there. We're going to delete that initial fluff section, you might want to call it, and then we're going to press play again, and then we're going to let it roll for 2.5 seconds, and then I'm going to cut. And then at this point, I'm going to start moving through and figuring out where I want to put the next cut in. So I'm going to cut there, and then I'm going to delete in between, and I'm going to butt that up to the beginning clip, and then you'll see you've got 2.5 seconds, and then let's go another 2.5 seconds. Boom. Just over between 2 and 3 seconds there, and let's put a cut in. And then we've got the color all around the sketch now, the illustration. So I'm going to move on to another point of the process just to switch it up a little bit. So I found a point in the design where I was using a gradient, and I'm just going to let that play out, and you'll see here, and 7.5 seconds, and there you go, pretty much. Another few seconds of it showing me doing the gradient, and then I can put another cut in. So you want to keep doing this, like putting a cut in, deleting the fluff, moving on to another portion of your progress, and then putting a cut in, allowing the scene to play out for 2 to 3 seconds. And you want to do this until you have between 20 and 30 seconds worth of video. Here's a little extra tip for you. At the end of the time lapse, I tend to put the image of the final finished illustration, or however far I got into the illustration. I'll have it zoomed in, and then over the span of about 3 seconds, I'll have it zoom out to show the illustration as a whole. Now, this is a cheeky little trick because you only get about 1 second worth of seeing the illustration as a whole once it's zoomed out, which means unless somebody's really quick to pause, if they want a better look at your illustration, going to have to rewatch your video, which means an extra view for the algorithm. So I've outlined the steps I take to making my time lapses, but let me show you what it looks like as an end result. Okay, so you'll notice having watched that also I changed the resolution. Just to add that in, to do that you want to change your sequence settings, and I just make sure that it's portrait setting 1080 wide by 1920 pixels high, which is standard screen size setting, but in a portrait view, so it fits perfectly for your Instagram Reels and your TikTok uploads. And that pretty much covers everything. So if you found the video useful, I'd really appreciate if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. As always, if you have any questions, please do feel free to pop them down in the comments, so I'm always happy to answer. Until next time, stay creative.